In this one, Poison, Rain of Arrows build guide both physical convert and poison for critical and maximize setups. Let's talk about starter skill board, zodiac, charms, and late game approach. Before diving into the build, there are a few things to know. First of all, Poison Rain of Arrows scales heavily from area of effect and projectile count. From zodiacs and skill board, by default, we are at 15 projectile count and 300 area of effect with Origin Awakening, which dampens area of effect but gives a lot of damage amplification. 300 area effect isn't enough to overlap 15 projectiles on a small target, for example a training scarecrow, but more than enough for a large targets, which are abundant on the maps. A standard skill board for the Poison of Arrows. In here, early, what we want to have is a little bit of additional poison damage flat and as much attack speed as we can. After that, we want to look for Shadow Watcher. This is the best link rune on this build, and you can pick up it from the rare link rune selection chest. Additional poison damage, as I said, flat damage, confidence for attack speed, extract poison energy. This one might be difficult to maintain, as poison energies increases your mana cost. But if mana cost is alright for you, this is a really good link rune to use. If you can't use it, use something like quick attack to get more attack speed. After that, multi-shot and area effect. These two link runes, you're not gonna change, they are basically the best for this build. Attack seal is Seal of Critical Chance, as we are doing a critical build on this one. Seal of Dodge is a defensive seal that you can acquire from the guild. You can equip any defensive seal that you have, I just like Seal of Dodge. Attack Enhance is Marksman. Defense Enhance is Bulwark or Protection. They both are linked with increased duration and time acceleration. Shadow Provocation in here is for armor amplification. It's linked with Improved Shout, Hushed Shout, Shadow Power. You can also use Predator's Roar in here. And Buff Activation when hit. With Buff Activation when hit, Shadow Provocation is gonna proc automatically whenever you are hit. For movement abilities, we don't really have a choice. We have to use Trick Shot. And Trick Shot can be acquired from the Magic skill rune selection box. And you want to do it as soon as you can, as we don't have any good second movement ability. After that, it's Roll, and they are both linked with Disarm. Zodiacs. For the stats themselves, it doesn't matter. You just have enough stats to equip your items and to equip your skill runes. There is no specific way to do this. For the Zodiac passives, this is what we want to have. We want to have Strong Strike, then into poison damage, after that into projectile damage. In here we want to pick up as much area effect as we can, and area effect is the most important. Twisted Element and Path of Element. With that we have unlocked the first specialization. We want to go for Darkness. In the Darkness, early, we want to have it like this. This is pretty much a defensive and utility way to do it, but it's gonna work perfectly fine. We only can spend 7 points in here. 2 extra points are unlocked when we finish the campaign and we do a little bit of Chaos Statue questline. With that, we want to go and pick up Hands Quicker Than Light with Muscle Strength. Via critical build, we want Elaborate Attack. We can also pick up some Super Speed. We can even spend 2 extra points in here. It's not a bad idea for movement speed and attack speed. In here we want to pick up again Area Effect. With that we have unlocked our second spec at 45 points. We want to pick up Dance of Life by default, and by default Perfect Dodge and Projectile Damage Amp. Again, only 7 points, but after you finish the campaign and do Chaos Statue questline, you're gonna have 2 extra points. However, we're not gonna spend those points in here. There is nothing good to pick up. 7 points on spec 2 is good. We want to go and pick up again as much area effect into elemental damages. Additional lightning damage to be able to apply shock effect, display of lightning. Shock effect is basically damage increase on the enemies, and we want to have that. We want to go into the third spec. We want to choose Sailboat. Sailboat because there is projectile count, and we do scale heavily from projectile count. With 2 extra points, we can either go attack speed and pick up even more projectile damage amplification, but also, if you have quite a bit of movement speed, even this could be good. If you are capping your movement speed, this is a good choice. But by default, this is what we want to pick up. On the trait 9, we want to go and pick up a little bit more damage. But if you're having some mana problems and you're running extract the poison energies, we can pick up this. This is going to reduce the negative effect, which is the resource cost of the build. If you don't need this, you're perfectly fine going onto the top row. Or if you're a little bit late into the game, picking up something like Holy Manufacturing for some potion effect and potion duration is also a good choice. We have around 20 points left, and with that, there is very easy choices. We want to go for Viper, Poison Dart, with a Fang. With 11 points left, we can make a few choices in here. I skipped Mist. It says trap damage, but there is an important thing in here. It's area effect. If you don't have enough area effect, and you do some testing in the arena to see how many projectiles hit, this could be a good investment damage-wise. But I'm not gonna keep it, as it's not always damage increase. I would rather pick up what's an actual damage increase. Let's go into Sweep for strike damage amplification. Weapon range doesn't matter to us, but strike damage amplification is really good. And after that, we can pick up something like this. Charms that we are looking for this build, or Charm Blessings, are Vespa, Levo, Alyssa, and the last one is Caster. These are the best ones to have, as all of them, if we have around 140 Blessing, we get damage amplification that we benefit from. On the Vespa it's Poison, on Levo it's projectile damage, on Alyssa it's area damage, on Caster it's just general damage amplification. For the affixes and the charms, on the critical build, we want always to have critical rate multiplier and critical damage multiplier. These two are the backbone of the charms. The third one can be anything. Something like maximize damage is really good when we are doing a hybrid build. And we want to do a hybrid build, but if you can't get the maximize damage one, getting something like HP multiplier, elemental resistances, or just damage multiplier is also a good charm. For the legendary prefix, the maximization chance is the best one. This enables us to do a hybrid build. That means critical damage plus maximized damage. And that is huge damage increase. The second best is strike damage amplification. And you want to have at least a few of strike damage amps as a legendary prefix on your setup. Relics are Sebda. On this one we want to pick up enhanced case resist on the active mental simulation with cooldown recovery speed and increased buff effect. Remember to summon the relic, otherwise you're not gonna get the buff. It has to be summoned. Second one can be Hamal with some enhanced poison penetration. The third one, Caster. In the Caster we can choose quite a few. Sanctum effect is nice, as this is basically the buffs that we can find on the maps, like swiftness, enhancement, expertise, and so on. Strength is also good if we are lacking a little bit to maybe equip an item. But the best one is enhanced rage, and it's because it's area effect. The last one is Boreal, and it can only be level 15. By default, it's enhanced HP. For the maximized build, we want to do a few changes. On the skill board, first of all, we want to have Seal of Persistence. This is important. And also, we want to have Band of Certainty unique ring. That ring is the main backbone of the maximized build, as it increases our damage tremendously. For the Zodiacs, we want to go and change Elaborate Attack into Distorted Senses. We are using the same charm blessings, Alyssa, Levo, Caster, and Vespa, but the charms are different. We want to have damage multiplier and maximize damage multiplier as our base affixes of the charms. The third one can be anything. It can be damage when two-handed if you're looking for a little bit more damage. HP multiplier, elemental resistances, all fit in here. The third affix, it's up to you. For the legendary prefix, only strike damage amplification works on this build. And this is what you want to have. Later skill board. So in here, Poison of Arrows, Awaken to Origin. Shadow Archer, Awaken to Verity. At this stage, you really want to use Extract Poison Energy. Deadly Poison, Awaken to Verity. And do not use it if it's not Awaken to Verity, as it's not gonna give you any damage. Mana Storm, Awaken to Source, but it also can be Strike. And Strike would be better in this situation, as it would make the resource cost not as huge. Right now with Mana Storm, you might have some mana issues, but Strike is gonna require much more attack speed. Multi-shot Awaken to Verity, this one doesn't really matter which Awakening, and Area of Effect Awaken to Origin, and it has to be Origin, and you want to hit as much Area of Effect amplification as you can. I'm still keeping Seal of Critical Chance in here, but you can also use Seal of Striking. Seal of Critical is Awaken to Verity, and it's only gonna depend on your critical amount. If you have like 700 value of critical, you can definitely use Seal of Striking. Veil of Protection in here as an extra defensive layer, Awaken to Source, linked with Enhance effect. You can choose either Earth Veil or Wind Veil. I suggest you use Wind Veil for projectile damage you can decrease. Illusion Axe, Awaken to Verity, and linked with Extract Earth Energy. And Counter Attack is also linked with Extract Earth Energy. We are basically an attack build, as it says in the tag. That means we scale from Earth Energies, and Earth Energies is huge damage increase. Illusion Axe is Verity for area effect, and Counter Attack is Awaken to Source for some area effect. On Illusion Axe, we also have Center of Gravity, Awaken to Verity, and it has to be Awakened to Verity, otherwise it's not gonna really work very well. Preemptive Strike, Awaken to Source. This one is nice, as via Area of Effect build, that means our Illusion Axe is really big. It's always gonna hit some kind of enemy that has max HP or at full HP, and because we are hitting the enemy at full HP, we get damage amplification. Trick Shots, Awaken to Source. Linked with Disarm, Awaken to Origin. I kept Roll, Awaken to Source, but you can use even something like Sprint in here. I also using Reverse Time, Awaken to Source, but Reverse Time is not only for the Link Rune itself, it's also for Skill Rune cooldown recovery speed. You can link many more things on Trick Shot, and link anything that reduces the cooldown. On Marksman, Awaken to Origin, linked with Decrease Duration. Be careful, Decrease Duration is not strong if you are doing it too early. It's Awaken to Source. Increase Duration, Awaken to Verity. Time Acceleration, Awaken to Source. Bulwark of Protection, Awaken to Origin. It's also linked with Vitality Recovery, but at the same time, you can use another Link Rune to reduce the cooldown on roll. Shadow Provocation, Awaken to Source, and Marksman is linked with Enhance effect, Awaken to Source. On Marksman, we also have Totem Activation upon using Enhance skill, and we want to have Beacon Totem, Awaken to Origin. You can also Awaken it to Source, because we are Elemental build, and Source is gonna work a little bit better. It's linked with Area Totem, Awaken to Source, and Enhance Totem, Awaken to Origin. On Shadow Provocation, we have Improved Shout to Source, Hushed Shout, Verity, Shadow Power can't be awakened. Shadow of Justice is in here to remove the crowd control. It's Awakened to Verity, and linked with buff activation upon crowd control, just to remove the crowd control automatically. At this stage, we can do some changes on the Zodiacs, but with a few assumptions. So first of all, we have 2 points left. For the Spec 1, we would like to remove acceleration and just go for projectile count, as this is what we scale from. After that, we don't need super speed. We don't need any more attack speed. You should already be capped on attack speed. With that in mind, we also don't need Display of Lightning. It should be either on a Star Jewel or on your weapon. And we want to pick up Frost and start doing cold damage. With that in mind, we can go into the Spider and pick up something like Cold Gaze. Damage jump against frozen enemies, and that's because we're already doing a little bit of cold damage. There is still more min-max to do. I'm assuming that Potion effect is better for you, but if your mana problems are really huge, you can always go back and pick up the Wall of Poison. We can remove 5 points in here, and instead pick up something like Power of Harmony, 2% damage jump, and then if you have 500 Dex, Path of Swiftness. If you also have 500 Strength, it's Will of the Strong. Most likely, you're only gonna have one option in here. It's either Dex or Strength, depending on what you choose to do. But I'm keeping that point in here. That 1 point can't be spent anywhere else effectively. Or it can. If you don't have it, you can go and pick up even HP on every attack hit or mana on every attack hit, because Poison Rain of Arrows hits a lot of time, that's a lot of mana per cast. For the maximized, again, I'm just gonna repeat myself, we want to have Seal of Persistence and Band of Certainty. We can switch Mana Storm to Smash, and we want to have Smash, Awaken it to Source. This is a lot of strike damage amplification and maximize damage. And on the Zodiacs, again, the same stuff. We don't want to have Elaborate, we want to have Distorted Senses. And remember, charms also are different. Convert Physical. I don't really see a lot of reasons to convert to Physical, especially if you are a new player. There is two things that you get from that. First one is that you can switch to any other build, as you can convert any elemental into Physical. That means less recrafting. And another one is basically low armor, which is a damage increase link rune, but the problem with this, you can only use it on like utility like Illusion Axe, and it only applies one stack at a time. Even if you hit 500 enemies, it's only gonna apply to one enemy. There is not that many reasons to do Physical Convert. You kind of want to do Physical Convert when you lack link runes on your main skill rune, but in this case, Poison of Arrows doesn't really lack any link runes. But I'm still gonna indulge and I'm gonna explain. So first of all, we have Convert Physical Damage, and we want to have Extract Earth Energy. That means we don't need any more Extract Energy on Illusion Axe, we switch it with low armor. But there is a problem. Right now we need a additional poison damage, as we have 20% damage amplification against enemies affected by the venom. So because we convert, we are already losing a little bit of damage from the poisoning of arrows itself. To fix that, we need to go into the Zodiacs. Right now I didn't change anything, but these are the default ones. This is what you want to do. We want to remove the poisons, pick up the physicals. There is a little bit in here. Instead of Alchemist, we want to go Nimble Excavation. Instead of Path of Element, we want to go for Physical Distortion and Material Strengthening. With this, there are most of the changes done. However, we still have the same problem. We need to be able to apply poison damage to get the damage back. That means I'm removing Cold. We no longer need Cold. We can go for Confirm Kill, which is the same but for physical damage. In here, we no longer need Frost. And I'm assuming you have lightning damage crafted on your weapon. In that case, we can go for poison damage in order to be able to get the damage back from the poison of arrows. We don't need the Wall of Poison, as we are not extracting energies anymore. I'm gonna keep it on the Holy Manufacturing. This is probably the best one to have. And with this, these are all of the changes on the Zodiacs. If you don't have the lightning damage on your weapon, you want to have it. There is no other way for you to fix it unless you go for a Star Jewel. Charm Blessings, instead of going Vesper, we want to go Hamal, Leo, Alyssa, and Castor, because Hamal is for physical damage amplification. The affixes are exactly the same. For the relics, if we want to go for the Castor, pick up Enhanced Range on the passive. On the active, it's Sensory Stimulation with cooldown recovery speed and increased buff effect. Remember to summon the Castor relic. For the Sebna, we want Enhanced Chaos Resist. The third, we want to go for Spica and pick up Powerful Damage. And for the last one is again Boreal, as we have no other choice, as this one is only gonna be level 15 for Enhanced HP. Masteries are default. I'm gonna show them quickly. Copy paste, there is not much to do. For the Alchemy Mastery, you can go either Mana Potion cooldown recovery or HP Potion cooldown recovery, depending on what you need the most. I just picked up Combining Price Discount because gold prices are insane this season. But yeah, a last few words. Basically, you don't have to awaken Poison Arrows really early in the game, as it's most likely gonna be a damage decrease. You really want to work on that area of effect first before you do the awakening. Poison of Arrows doesn't have any specific uniques, so you can use any good uniques that you have, like any transcendent ones or whatever gives you damage amplification. For the itemization itself, it's pretty default. I'm gonna leave the link in the description, you can check that one. There is nothing specific to craft, you can go for the default authorities and you're gonna be fine. I'm done with this one. If you have any questions, ask them on YouTube or find me when I'm live streaming. But for now, bye-byes, GG's, and see you in the next one.